How's it going, everyone? TJ here once again. If you don't know me already, my name is TJ Viltech, and I have been doing videos on YouTube and, as of recently, TikTok, and of course for years on Facebook too. But for those of you that don't already know me, that's a little background about my videos. I've done a lot of technology-focused content, but sometimes I break away into other topics as well. One of it being the condition I've lived with since the day I was born, which is Moebius syndrome. So this is an intimate look into living with Moebius syndrome, and I'm going to do my very, very best to keep it condensed. In the past, I had just gone off the rails, and it was like 25, 30 minutes long. I don't want to do that this time. I want to keep it condensed and to the point, as I can help it. But let's get into it. So, first, some exciting news. My book, which is called I Smile With My Eyes, Living with Moebius Syndrome, is finally coming out in 2 days, January 25th. It's a Friday. It has been 5+ years in the making. I have spent probably a dozen times revising it, taking things out, putting things in. I really try to, when it comes to written text, it's my personal belief that if it's not something about, like, if it's not a great story, it's not Stranger Things, like on Netflix, right? It's not like a story that sinks you in and engulfs your mind and makes you, it's not that kind of, like, it's not a Stephen King book, you know. You don't want it to ramble on endlessly, is my point. So I don't want to do that with this book. It's going to be somewhat condensed, but it'll tell some really, hopefully, you guys will agree with this, some good anecdotes, stories, examples, a well-explained narrative about living with Moebius syndrome, and it means a lot to me. I owe every single one of you who is watching this video now, gives this a thumbs up on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, engages in this with this video, maybe even picks up my book once it's released. It will be digital only, unfortunately, for the time being. I would love to make it a hard copy edition I could physically send out to my friends and family. We'll get there someday. I don't know when or how, but it will happen. But it just couldn't be right now. So, I'll give more details about the book in another post, but that's the good news about that. So in terms of living with Moebius syndrome, it impacts every individual differently. Some have incredibly mild, almost non-existent symptoms. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there's a lot of people that have severe impacts physically in terms of abnormalities with limbs and, facial impacts and dental impacts and things like that. So when I was younger, I used to say that I had a mild case of it. In terms of the physical side of it, I guess I would still say that, but every day is a learning experience, right? So how you feel about yourself 10 years ago can change 10 years later. And now I feel like it's not even necessary to put labels on my condition or how it impacts me. Because socially, from a social perspective, as in having those landmark milestones that most people desire to have in their lives, such as romance, getting married, having a family, being in love. Do I feel like my condition had a mild case in that way? No. It did not only have a mild case. But it's also then a blessing. So it's very much a blessing and a curse in that way. Because Moebius has also taught me to be so accepting of differences, whether it's mental, physical differences. You cannot judge anyone at face value. And I say that a lot. don't judge me or anyone else at face value, because what you perceive might be somebody's inability or disability could be also a strength. And that's not just pretty words. That really is the truth. Because I had my plenty of weaknesses, but I believe on a human-to-human level, my strength is connecting and communicating in a way that is irrelevant to my, what I consider to be a mild speech impediment or speech challenge, if you will. But that's because I do have a paralyzed tongue. So my tongue can move a little bit, but not much. I can't always stick it out. That's as hard as it can go. You don't need to see inside my mouth, but just trust me, I have dental issues caused by Moebius syndrome. And again, I can't smile in the normal way that you guys can. This is about it. That's the extent I can smile. But, and of course, I can't move my eyes side to side. And again, I'll repeat this just in case I missed it earlier. It is because of the 6th and 7th craniofacial nerves being underdeveloped. And there's plenty of other ways, and I went down a laundry list of things that are wrong with me physically. Oh, good. I mean, I have a critical airway. When I was an infant into my toddler years, I had this tracheal tube here, not to gross you guys out, but I'm being honest with you guys. And I never did have plastic surgery for whatever reason to fix that, so that's still there. But and if you were to see, I'm not going to show you, but on my belly I do have a scar from my feeding tube that I had as an infant. I had severe breathing issues as an infant. They actually didn't think I was going to live. And I did live, obviously. And I guess the doctors tell me that it's amazing I'm still here. And I noticed there's that too. But, I had a lot of medical issues as an infant. And now into my adult years, it scares me to say I'm 35 now, but, I guess you could say I could be a lot worse. Besides some sleep apnea, some breathing issues, I have to be careful still with how I exert energy. Not related to Moebius syndrome, but my sugar's a bit I have to maintain my sugar as well, but that's not related to my condition. So, in hindsight, I guess you could argue that I'm doing relatively well physically and medically, given the circumstances. So, just to keep giving you guys an idea, so my left leg has some crooked bones, and my feet have arthritis, my hands have arthritis. So this is giving you, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, I can't really move my hands, and yes, my hands are dry too, but I can't move them like the way that most people probably can. I do have arthritis in the hands and the feet, like I said. That gives you a rundown of, I'm sure there's many other things, but that's a little rundown of what is physically how Moebius impacts me. But again, I can't emphasize enough. The biggest thing is socially. It impacts me and most other people with Moebius. I talk to a lot of people with Moebius syndrome and all the Moebius syndrome groups. And if I see one thing consistently, it's the social and emotional impacts of this condition. Because you're kind of stuck in, and this is how I explain it. I do not mean this offensively to any other condition out there. I don't mean this offensively to other people with my condition even. But, and this is not meant to sound ableist in any way. Ableist meaning, disrespectful to people with disabilities. But I do feel like in some ways, it's like being trapped in you know that you are perceived as being different, and you know when people are looking at you and trying to figure out what's going on with you, and it takes an emotional toll on you. And That is the one thing I connect with the most. Almost all the posts I see about Moebius syndrome in the Facebook groups. And just know, whether you live with Moebius syndrome or another disability, you are not alone. And this is the aim of making these videos and spreading awareness. It's not just to say, hey, Moebius syndrome exists once a year. No. The real objective here, folks, is to spread understanding and acceptance. Yes, awareness, but awareness has to lead to understanding and acceptance. Because society has such a huge value in superficial things like looks. And when you live with a condition that, despite your strongest desires or wishes, or I wish I looked like this, but I don't, or I wish this person saw me this way, that they don't, it doesn't change. It doesn't change how they see you, and you have to learn to accept yourself and look in the mirror and be able to love the reflection that you see at face value. And that's the thing, is as much as it's easy to say, don't judge us at face value, it's also very critical to not judge yourself at face value and to not shy away from new experiences and new interactions. And it's funny, in high school, when I was younger, growing up, I never thought that way. I was always sociable. I didn't have no hesitation being social and getting along great with people. And it was actually only until my adult years that I really learned intimately that Moebius syndrome was going to be kind of an obstacle in certain ways. I'll leave it at that. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for my book that's coming out in a couple of days. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. I hope you all like it. And until then, have a great day. And please stay healthy and well. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up on whatever platform you're on. It helps me out tremendously. And it helps spread awareness of Moebius syndrome, of course. So until then, have a great day, guys.